reaction to the first episode for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, if you want to see an uncut version, Patreon support level. There will be more episodes of this in the coming week. And for those of you that are actually on the free level of Patreon, to be next episode of Still Game and the next episode of Some Others Do Have 'Em, and I'll be releasing some more content that's previously been exclusive to the free tier. So hope you enjoyed this reaction here. Oh, destruction of Earth. Okay.
This is the story of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Perhaps the most remarkable, certainly the most successful book ever to come out of the great publishing corporations of Ursa Minor. More popular than the Celestial Home Care Omnibus, better selling than 53 More Things to Do in Zero Gravity, and more controversial than Ulan Kalufid's trilogy of philosophical blockbusters, Where God Went Wrong, Some More of God's Greatest Mistakes, and Who Is This God Person Anyway? And in many of the more relaxed civilizations on the outer eastern rim of the galaxy, The Hitchhiker's Guide has already supplanted the great Encyclopedia Galactica as the standard repository of all knowledge and wisdom. For though it has many omissions, contains much that is apocryphal, or at least wildly inaccurate, it scores over the older, more pedestrian work in two important respects. First, it is slightly cheaper, and secondly, it has the words, "Don't Panic," inscribed in large, friendly letters on the cover. To tell the story of the book, it is best to tell the story of some of those whose lives it affected. A human from the planet Earth was one of them. Though as our story opens, he no more knows his destiny than a tea leaf knows the history of the East India Company. His name is Arthur Dent. He is a 6-foot-tall ape descendant, and someone is trying to drive a bypass through his home.
Oh, so they're trying to put a roadway through where he's at. Okay. They not give him any warning? Like, what the heck? Gotta love the older graphics, man. Shows you how dated stuff is, but it's awesome for its time.
Come off it, Mr. Dent. You can't win, you know. You can't lie in front of the bulldozers indefinitely.
I'm game. We'll see who rusts first.
You're going to have to accept it. This bypass has got to be built, and it's going to be built. Nothing you can
Why has
say...
it got to be built?
What do you mean, why has it got to be built? It's a bypass. You've got to build bypasses. You were quite entitled to make any suggestion or protest at the appropriate time.
Appropriate time? First I heard about it was when a workman arrived at the door yesterday. I thought he'd come to clean the windows. He told me he'd come to demolish the house. He didn't sell me straight away, of course. No, first he wiped a couple of windows and charged me a £5. Then he told me...
But, Mr. Dent, the plans have been available in the planning office for the last 9 months.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, as soon as I heard, I went straight round to see them. You hadn't exactly gone out of your way to call much attention to them, had you? Like telling anybody or anything?
But the plans were on display.
On display? I eventually had to go down to the cellar.
That's the display department.
With a torch.
The lights are probably gone.
So had the stairs.
But you did see the notice, didn't you?
Oh, yes. It was on display in the bottom of a locked filing cabinet stuck in a disused lavatory with a sign outside the door saying, "Beware of the leopard." Ever thought of going into advertising? You couldn't get me like that, either.
Mr. Dent,
Hello, yes?
have you any idea how much damage this bulldozer would suffer if I were to let it roll straight over you?
None. Absolutely
How much?
none.
None at all.
By a strange coincidence, none at all is exactly how much suspicion the ape descendant Arthur Dent had that one of his closest friends was not descended from an ape, but was in fact from a small planet somewhere in the vicinity of Betelgeuse. Arthur Dent's failure to suspect this reflects the care with which his friend blended himself into human society after a fairly shaky start. When he first arrived 15 years ago, the minimal research he had done suggested to him that the name Ford Prefect would be nicely inconspicuous. He will enter our story in 30 seconds and
I don't know if that's
hello, Arthur.
most inconspicuous name I've ever seen, but
The ape descendant will greet him in return, but in deference to 1,000,000 years of human evolution, he will not attempt to pick fleas off him. Earthmen are not proud of their ancestors and never invite them round to dinner.
never happens. Okay.
Hello, Arthur.
Ford. Hi, how are you?
Fine. Look, are you busy?
Busy? Well, I've just got this bulldozer to lie in front of, or it'll knock my house down. But otherwise, no, not especially. Why?
Good. Anywhere we can talk?
What?
We've got to talk.
Fine, talk.
And drink. It's vitally important that we talk and drink. Now. We'll go to the pub in the village.
Ford, you don't understand. That man wants to knock my house down.
Well, he can do that whilst you're away, can't he?
But I don't want him to. Ford, what's the matter?
Nothing. Nothing's the matter. Listen to me. I've got to tell you the most important thing you've ever heard. I've got to tell you now, and I've got to tell you in the saloon bar of the Red Lion.
Why?
Because you're going to need a very stiff drink.
No, what about my house?
He wants to knock your house down,
Yes,
and he can't because you're lying in the way of his bulldozer.
exactly.
I think we can come to some arrangement. Excuse me.
Hello? Yes? Has Mr. Dent come to his senses yet?
Can we for the moment assume that he hasn't?
Well,
Can we also assume that he's going to be staying there all day?
so?
So, all your men are going to be standing around here all day doing nothing.
Could be, could be.
Well, if you resign to doing that anyway, you don't actually need him to lie there all the time, do you?
Not as such, no. Not exactly need.
Well, if you just like to take it as read that he's actually there, then he and I could slip off down the pub for half an hour. How does that sound?
Sounds perfectly reasonable, I suppose.
And if you'd like to pop off for a quick on yourself later on, we could always cover for you in return.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
So, if you'd just like to come here and lie down.
What?
It's very simple. My client, Mr. Dent, says he will stop lying here in the mud on the sole condition that you take over from him.
What are you talking about?
Sorry. You want
What the Bro, you trying to get him to take his place so they can... Oh, I guess he's about... I'm going to assume, since him being not from the world, not of the earth, he knows it's about to go down and maybe he's going to take and warn him the reason why he needs a stiff drink. But to get him to move... Lord have mercy. Bruh. That's hilarious. My client... What are you talking about? Be quiet. Yo.
Come on, Arthur, get up. Let the man lie down.
Thank you.
As soon as they leave, he's hopping up and bulldozing the house.
And no sneaky knocking Mr. Dent's house down while he's away. All right?
The slightest thought hadn't even begun to speculate about the merest possibility of crossing my mind.
Right, right.
Can we trust him?
Myself, I trust him to the end of the earth.
Yes, but how far's that?
About 12 minutes away. Come on, we've got to get some alcohol. 6 pints of bitter. And quickly, please, the world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir. Foregone conclusion, then, eh? Arsenal without a chance?
No, it's just the world's about to end.
Oh, they are, sir. 6 pints.
6 pints. Good God.
Ford, will you please tell me what the hell's going on? I think I'm beginning to lose my grip on the day.
Drink up, you
Why 3 pints?
muscle relaxant. You're going to need it.
Did I do something wrong this morning?
How would you react if I told you that I'm not from Guildford after all, but from a small planet? Drink up.
This must be Thursday. I never could get the hang of Thursdays.
What?
Things were moving through the ionosphere many miles above the surface of the planet. The planet was almost totally oblivious of their presence.
like-
They went unnoticed.
Looks like naval destroyers or something, but in outer space. I've got to say this, the special effects for this so far, at least for like, you know, the beginning, and then you got the 2 people that are definitely not from this earth, and just the fact that they're just painted. They look like they've got ductwork. A girl looked like she had ductwork on her, almost, but their skin is just painted a different color. And this showing the ships above the out in space. It's not, yeah, it's not fantastic, but for the time, I'm guessing probably for the budget, it's not bad. No, I mean, they could do worse, you know.
Arthur Dent, too, had other things on his mind.
What's that? Probably just your house being knocked down. What? Arthur, come back. It's pointless. Quickly, can you just give me 4 packets of peanuts?
Do you mind, sir? Do you really think the world's going to end this afternoon?
Yes, in just over 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Pinstripe barbarians, I'll sue the council for every penny it's got! Until you...
Yep, your house is about to go down, homie. It don't matter.
There's no point. There's only a minute or so left.
And then I'll do it some more! And then I'll take all the little bits and I'll... What the hell's that?
I would say it's a spaceship, homie. Looks almost like an aircraft carrier from the bottom. Just the way it pans out.
It's a fleet of flying saucers! What do you think it is? Take hold of this! A Vogon constructor fleet! I picked up news of their arrival a few hours ago. Now take hold of this!
Oh, beam me up, Scotty, eh? The end of the world is nigh. Probably sitting there, mind blown. And those poor folks that are just sitting there like, what in the world is this?
People of Earth, your attention please. This is Prostatnic Vogon Jeltz of the
Hell is that?
outlying regions of the western spiral arm of the galaxy. Require the building of a hyperspace express route.
Kind of ironic, ain't it? The irony here, it starts off with them wanting to take down Mr. Dent's house, and now they got to take out, you know, his was for a bypass, theirs is for an expressway. The irony here, not lost on me.
All the planning charts and demolition orders have been on display at your local planning department at Alpha Centauri.
And the plans have been on display. Oh, Alpha Centauri.
Oh, for heaven's sake, mankind. It's only 4 light years away, you know. Energize the demolition beam.
Oh, this is not going to be good. There goes Earth. So the irony and bit of karma here is absolutely just, it's hilarious. It's only 4 light years away. If you can't be bothered with local affairs. Bro. So, I've got the DVD set of this, right, that was sent to me. But I happen to be on BritBox and happen to notice that it's there, so why not, right? So what do they do to build the expressway?
I bought some peanuts.
Brought
It
some
just means for a
peanuts.
matter be, you had to have cushioned your system a bit.
Like a military academy. Bits of me keep passing out. Ford, if I were to ask you where the hell we were, would I regret it?
We're safe.
What are you doing?
Looking for the light.
How did we get here?
We hitched a lift. Well, the thumb's an electronic sub-ether device, the roundabout's at Barnard Star, but otherwise that's more or less right.
Good grief. Is this really the interior of a flying saucer?
What's that? What the hell is it? He just wants us to turn the lights out.
So he's got no clothes. He didn't bring no clothes with him.
Ford, they were
What?
aliens? What is it?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a sort of electronic book. Don't panic. Look, Fast Wine Index, V. Vogon Constructor Fleets.
Vogon constructor fleets.
Fancy bit of technology there for the time, eh? Or
They're
for any
one of the
time.
most They wouldn't even lift a finger to save their own grandmothers from the ravenous bug-blatter beast of Tra, and finally buried in soft peat for 3 months and recycled as firelighters. And the best way to annoy him is to feed his grandmother to the ravenous bug-blatter beast.
Hagra Biscuit, the greatest. You'll love these guys.
That looks like peas on a blue turd. Yeah, something must have changed.
Then Tracy hate Vogons. That's why the letter's on board. Storeroom.
They're just gallivanting through this spaceship, Nobody in sight. What is it, just ran by one thing or one person? Like, how does this work?
Listen, this is a Vogon spaceship. We just pick up what we need and we get off it. Stun guns.
Any good?
No. Telecom systems.
Went for a week and got stuck for 15 years.
Helmets.
Cybermen. That's what it looks like.
Teasers?
Yeah. Teasers are rich kids with nothing to do. They find some isolated spot and land right by some unsuspecting soul that no one's ever going to believe in. It's a tough universe. There's all sorts of people and things trying to do you, kill you, rip you off.
The fact that he led with trying to do you is probably the most disconcerting thing out of this whole thing so far. Trying to do you? Say what? Well, he's got no place to go back from, so there's no getting off the ship. Probably not, at least not without him.
You've really got to know where your towel is. Fish! Over here, I think.
And he's getting, seems like he's getting quite annoyed.
What do you expect me to do with that?
Stick it in your ear.
What?
It's only a little one.
I can't speak Vogon.
You don't have to. Just put this in your ear.
Have a good time. Message repeat. First of all, I see from our instruments that we have a couple of hitchhikers on board our ship. I've sent out a search party, and as soon as they find you, I shall turn you off the ship. We're about to jump into hyperspace for the journey to Barnard Star. On arrival, we will stay in dock for 72 hours.
What are you doing?
Preparing for hyperspace. It's rather unpleasantly like being drunk.
What?
Just do it.
Like this?
Right.
What exactly am I doing with this fish in my ear?
It's translating for you. Look in the book under...
What's happening?
We're going into hyperspace.
You gonna lose the Hitchhiker's Guide?
The speech you hear decodes the brainwave matrix.
I'm gonna say this. That's... Yeah, we definitely gonna be... This was just outstanding way to introduce something. Like, that was awesome. I don't know how else to say it. Like, there's so much stuff in here that's... So, even with the graphical stuff being what it is, because... When did this come out? Like the 80s or something like that? Is what it said. Like 81 is a little is what it has in the little caption to the side of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on BritBox. 81, I believe. So even that being the case, there was a little bit better type stuff that you could do for just from the standpoint of even with the fact there was actually graphics that could be done that were. Or special effects that could be done that was a little bit better. It's definitely low budget, all right? But even with that, it's spectacular. And it's something like this. I've never watched the actual movie to come out, like the 90s or early 2000s. I've never watched it. I understand that it came out first as I'm guessing it started as a book and then went to radio and then went to TV and then finally a movie, unless I've got that wrong, but my understanding is it's been different every media format, which I find absolutely awesome since it's supposed to be that. It was done, so it's supposed to be that way, which, again, something done as a sci-fi and done in a way that it changes every time. I've got to take it, if there's a book, I've got to take and read it. I need to take and find the BBC radio series and listen to that. For me, stuff like that, whenever you take and make something, especially if it's going to be a sci-fi, that's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And this, even it being low budget, it's a sci-fi nerd's wet dream. Not even going to lie. I can't wait to get into the rest of this. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.